Okay, now this should be fine. So, the real time, according to the rules, will start when I gain the control of Donald, but I'm gonna start the timer on the marathon since I pressed the cross button to new game. I'm gonna make the countdown from 3 and then we're gonna wait 15 seconds to start the real action. So, well, just gonna check my delay, just give me a second. Okay, now everything should be fine. So I'm gonna start on 3, 2, 1. Wait, what happened? Okay, it's everything. I'm gonna start from 3. 3, 2, 1, go. Now we're gonna start 15 seconds before we start with the real action of the game. So, well, this is general like Goin Quackers, any person PSX. I'm gonna explain a bit this category on a bit. The plot of this game is that Daisy was working as a TV reporter and she was broadcasting live footage from Erbil's Marlock's pad, but then he discovered her and he decided to kidnap her. So now Donald's going to rescue her, and for that he's gonna use the Giro's lab, the Giro's time machine in order to travel the Marlock's pad. But before he can go, he needs to collect some energy orbs like the one that we are gonna see at the end of this stage. There's a total of 16 orbs and divided in 4 different levels between 4 warp rooms. Each stage has its own orb, and I'm gonna talk a bit the development of this game. This was released back in 2000. It was developed by Ubisoft and Disney Interactive and published by Ubisoft. And actually there are 3 different versions of this game, talking about the home versions, because there are also 2 portable versions, which are the Game Boy Color and Game Boy Advance. That I'm not gonna talk about them. So the 3 different home versions are the first one, which is the N64, Dreamcast and PC version. The second version is the PlayStation 1, and the third version is the PlayStation 2 and GameCube version. Each version it's entirely different. So that's the reason why this category is any percent PSX, or as I like to call it, any percent PS1, since it's the any percent for the PlayStation 1, which is entirely different to the other versions. And this is curious because, for example, the full competition of this game on the PS1 is 112%, which on Nintendo 64, PC, Dreamcast, and even PlayStation 2 and GameCube versions are 100%. And well, I have forgotten entirely what I was gonna to say. And yes, Donald Duck's gonna rescue Daisy plus the world. Since, well, it's supposed that Daisy was making some broadcasting about the evil wizard Marlock and his evil machine that we don't know which is the reason of the machine and what does the machine does. So, talking about the game of the stages, each warp room, there are 4 warp rooms. Each warp room has 4 stages, 1 boss stage and 1 unlockable stage. Maybe you have seen, if you have paid attention, some books on the last stage, and we're gonna look to a lot of them in all stages, except on the boss ones, obviously. And what happens if I hit that books? Well, if I hit them, there appears a timer up on the screen, which gives me a certain time that I need to catch a toy that will activate before the timer runs out. If I got it and I catch the toy before time runs out, I will gain a toy. Every stage has 3 toys. You need to collect all 12 toys in order to unlock the unlockable stage, obviously, which is protected in some way by the Donald's nephews that you have saw in the warp room. But for this category, that stuff is not necessary, because with that we unlock an kind of auto-scroller stage, and if we finish it, we are gonna use some special costumes for Donald that are just aesthetic changes. They don't do anything important on the game, so we're not gonna go for them. That's just necessary for 112%, and also 112% you need to do some time trials, which makes that category a bit boring for marathon, so I hope that you like this 20% run. So in order we are collecting these energy orbs, you can see that at the middle of the warp room there's a special pad that will get activated once we get all the orbs of all 4 stages. The order of stages doesn't matter, but I'm gonna go on the intentional order of beating stages, and I'm explaining a bit of that. So the way that you hit the enemies are just punching them or jumping over them. So to beat some of them, I'm gonna be jumping over them, because I mean I can hit them and I don't have any kind of problems, but thanks to the game physics that are not good, as we can say, as many platformers of the era, I'm gonna be jumping over them, because for example with some enemies I can hit them without any kind of issues, but there will be another ones that literally needs to be a frame perfect punch if I don't wanna get hit, because once you get hit, Donald turns into a mad dog state. So if we get a second hit on that phase, we're gonna lose alive, and we don't want that happens. And also you can see some kind of milkshakes over the game. So if I am on this normal Donald state, and it will give me some invincibility for some seconds, but if I am on the mad dog pace, that will make that I will return Donald into his normal pace. For example, with that enemy, I prefer to jump over him instead to punch him, because I don't know why, but the game took that it doesn't matter if I hit him, I will get mad dog state, and we don't want that it happens. So in some parts it's just like a frame perfect trick, because it's weird that you can hit that kind of enemies without getting any kind of damage. And unfortunately I have activated that book, and I have to catch the toy, and that's also a way to lose time on this category, catching the toys, because every time you catch the toy, Donald starts to dance, and obviously the most longest dance will be when he got all 3 toys. In this case we just got 1, so it doesn't matter for this time. So basically this is like a Crash Bandicoot ripoff, and more for younger audiences, but maybe it looks more like a game for kids, but it's entertaining to play, and sometimes can turn into a bit frustrating to finish this game. But that's the good point of this, because it's not like other kind of platformers. I mean, if you have played some Crash Bandicoot games and you try to play this Donald Duck game, you will note some kind of stuff that looks very similar. And now it's time to go to the last stage of this world room, which is Dangerous Cliff. And as you can see, some stages may change. Some stages has a 3D perspective, another ones had some kind of 2D perspective. So that's a good point of this game, because it's a kind of mix of every different kind of point of view for this kind of video games. So I'm gonna talk about the items on the game. For example, that starts will be something like coins or whatever you're gonna refer like in other video games. Every time I catch a yellow star, it gives me just 1. If I catch the blue one, it gives me 3. Sorry, it gives me 5. But if I catch a red one, it gives me 10. Or maybe I got confused and the red gives you 10, gives you 5, and the blue gives you 10. I don't remember, TBH. So I'm gonna try to don't get hit or receive damage, because on the invincibility moments there you make that Donald moves a bit faster, so that's gonna be very helpful in all the run. But sometimes maybe I will choke. that's part of this, just to show that I'm playing this on live and it's not any kind of editions. So also, thanks to the physics on the game, this will make that some certain jumps and movements will be a bit hard. For example, I need to jump over that box if I wanna save time, because it's very precisely if you wanna do a normal jump, because sometimes you will make that tunnel fall off and doesn't reach that up part, and obviously that wouldn't be so good, as we can say. And fortunately the first stages are not so long. The longest stage will start after we reach the last warp room. The last two warp rooms, warp 3 and warp 4, and also it will start some issues with some hard stages, but anyway, now it's time to go to the first boss battle, which is Bernabet. And this is a kind of flying chicken, or never mind how you can wanna consider that. And these bosses are easy to beat, but you need to be really focused, because if you make a little mistake, everything will turn into something a little bit hard. So on this base, he is gonna throw 4x and it will appear two enemies, two little chickens. Okay, I choked here. So I need to hit them, and then he will fall down 4 times, and as any kind of video game cliche, I need to do this 3 times if I wanna beat the boss. So on this base, he is gonna throw again 4x and it will appear 2 of them, but now with some stuff in their heads that wouldn't let me to hit them. So again, it's 1, 2, 3, and 4 and hit. And now on this base, he's gonna throw again 4x, but it's gonna throw also 4 little chickens on this occasion, so I need to be very careful to not get hit, because that will make that I will lose a life since I'm on the Mad Dog pace. Fortunately, when I finish the stage, I will be back on the normal dog pace, which is good. Okay, first boss defeated. Also, something that I need to say, that if I got hit and while I'm start to turn into the Mad Donald, I have like between 2 to 3 seconds of invincibility, so I cannot get hit, fortunately, on that part, but it's supposed that we need to keep as safer as we can say, as we can be, sorry. So for this marathon, I will try to play the most safely as I can, but without losing time. And also, something I need to say about this game is that I'm the only runner of the PlayStation 1 version which doesn't run the game on emulator. I run the game on a console. So thanks to it, there's a lot of stuff that we haven't tested about the game, because actually I'm playing as many PS1 runners this game on a PS2, which it has a fast disk speed mode, but sometimes, I don't know why, but the loading screens takes more longer than usual to appear on the game. So fortunately, to this moment, I haven't got any of them, because it will looks like if the game has crashed or something, because the screen gets black for a long time. So now we are on the city stages. There's not any important stuff to say here, so we need to keep running, and fortunately catching all these milkshakes should be fine, because there's a lot of enemies on some parts, and if we were on a normal pace, and that's gonna make that we lose a lot of time, and that's a nice meme. It's a nice death. Well, as I was saying, it's better to keep safely on these parts and make that Donald don't get mad and what is happening with this game. Because there's a lot of enemies on all stages, you can see, so sometimes it will be a bit annoying if we don't have the invincibility, because we need to wait some enemies to appear or some stuff to happen before we start to move. So thanks to the invincibility, which I'm not gonna get on this part unfortunately, since I'm on the Mad Dog pace, we can save some good time here. So also I need to be so careful with hitting enemies, because sometimes if I still being a mad dog and if I try to punch them, the system doesn't recognize sometimes these parts and will make this turn into something hard to beat or to complete on a shorter time, but whatever. In this case I just need to be focused on catching this energy orbs. And yeah, Angry Donald is strong. And now, for the people who start to run the game, maybe this will be the first stage that can be a bit annoying thanks to the orb, because in some stages, as you have saw, the orb it's clearly easy to watch, and we can identify where does the energy orb is, so we can go and catch them. But this is not the case with this stage, because this is the first hidden orb. And as you have saw in some parts, there's like on this case, that there's some dynamite that appears on screen, and we need to give a punch to it in order to make it goes back. So there's a part close to the end of the stage that there's a door that we need to make that it explodes, sending back these TNTs. So that can be the first and annoying issue for first runners if you are not used to remember where the orbs are. But fortunately I have played a lot this game, so if I forgot where one of these orbs is, it's because I'm retarded, or maybe I got distracted. Whatever on what happened. It doesn't really matter. And also, I'm timing this with my splits, and I have some personal notes on them, so let's suppose that I don't need to forget where the orbs are. And as you can see, the orbs are alive here, so it's a kind of distraction to forget that the orb is on this part. We just need to hit that TNTs, and if we go back to that door, and once that door explodes, we can access and catch the energy orb. So now I need to focus just on finish the stage. So fortunately this is the last part, this is the last milkshake. We don't need to have any kind of issues here. Anyway. And now, as you have saw on this kind of stages, oh, it was a gold, nice. On this kind of stages, we can see that are pretty basic and in some ways similar, and this is because the game is trying to make us to identify how to play this game correctly. Talking about to get some general knowledge about the games, about some enemies and about some stuff. And this is the first training stage. Fortunately the rain doesn't affect to us, but that's can be a little distraction if we don't pay attention correctly. And also sometimes it's easy to make that Donald get stuck, and this is the first stage of its kind. So we need to be very careful in some parts, because Donald can get stuck and we can lose a big amount of time. So I'm gonna make I have made that Donald lose a life on purpose, because I need that he gets into the normal Donald pace, because the next milkshakes are gonna help us a lot, because on these parts we have some precise movements that in some way are intended that you need to wait to move. But since this is a speed run, we need to be so careful about this kind of stuff and move faster. And the orb is right here. It's another one of the hidden ones, so as you have put attention, you can watch this kind of orbs and localize them, because sometimes they are hidden on the screen, but they are put in some specific parts. And now we are on a dangerous space, so I need to find again a checkpoint, or maybe I will try to make an data views. Well, really, maybe not. Because sometimes you will see that I will try to make some data views if I am on the Mad Donald pace, but sometimes it's not good to do it, because if a checkpoint it's close to a hole or an enemy that can make that Donald lose alive instantly, and that will be so better for us. But for example, on the last checkpoint, and there's any kind of that stuff close to, so that means that we are gonna lose time if we try to make the dead abuse. So the really hard stage of this is urban high rises, but once you start to play this game you can understand how to complete them. Maybe Dew's Rupture, which was the last stage, will be the most hard for the start. The real challenge is on this stage, thanks to all the traps that are on screen and in all entire game, all the enemies and all that stuff. So you need to be careful here, because you will be glad to keep Donald on a normal pace and get the milkshakes. Because thanks to the milkshakes you can save a big amount of time of movement instead of stop and wait to keep continuing on the stage. And as I have said before with the orbs, something similar applies also for the traps that are on the game, because some of them you can watch them carefully at the first try, the first attempt, so you need to pay attention so close. And also something I forgot to mention about the TNT is that the TNT has a little timer off to it, so you can know if it's gonna explode soon or not, and that should be helpful if you are not good on the game. So well, okay, that's it. So the orb of this stage was here down. It's supposed that you need to walk first and then notice that the orb is down, but the faster way to grab it, it's like that. It's you don't go up on this part. Instead of it, you need to go down, and you will catch the orb faster. You will save between 2 to 3 seconds depending of your movements. But on this part, as you have saw, I got that Donald gets stuck in some certain part. So thanks to that, I have lost just 1 second, but I have saved a bit more, and it was something good. And also something I need to say is that, well, the real name of this game is Disney's Donald Duck Going Quackers, but in Europe the game's name is Disney Donald's Duck Quack Attack, which is kind of interesting. And also the PC version, if it's from America, it also says Donald Duck Quack Attack once you install the game, which is the most weirdest. And now this is Beagle Boys. This is the second boss fight, as we can say. So he's gonna throw that wrecking ball 3 times, and once he throws it for the 3rd time, the machine will get stuck. He will go out to fix it. We need just to kick him in the butt once he get out, and then he will throw some TNTs to us. Then the next phase are similar, but some parts of the roof's gonna fall down, so it will make that this is gonna be a bit hard. So I'm gonna keep on safer places. Fortunately, I know which part of the roofs are gonna go down, so I'm gonna try to keep on there. Also, I'm gonna try to make that he got confused in order to make that the wrecking ball get in some certain point freezed and don't move. That's gonna help me to get more closer to him on the last hit of the wrecking ball. So now this is the hardest part of this run, because now we're gonna have just 4 parts of the roof. So I'm gonna keep on this specific part that he's not gonna fall off. Unfortunately, I haven't checked correctly and I got into the mat duck pace, but that doesn't need to matter here because that's the last hit. He's gonna go out. Yeah, I just hit him and then we have to beat him. And now from this point we are at the middle of the run. Okay, I have forgot to press the correct button to skip that, but never mind. Now we have half of the game completed for this any person category, and that's another goal. That's nice, I'm glad. And also my PB is 55 minutes and 20 seconds, and world record is like 46 minutes, I don't remember correctly at this moment. But this game has still a lot of stuff to improve and to optimize. Unfortunately, also with Setsubu Scorpion and also another runner, Shadow Clouser, who was on the last marathon running Crash Bandicoot 1, we have been discovering some stuff to optimize this game. So now we're gonna start with the hard stages of the game. This first is out in the hole. This is not supposed to be so hard as the other ones. For example, Ghostly Pad may turns into the first run killer of the game, and this is the third stage of this game. So if in the other stages we need to be more precise with some movements, now in this game we need to be more precise, because now some enemies takes 2 hits to beat them. For example, with that kind of Frankenstein, we need to hit it twice in order to defeat him, but I would prefer to jump over their heads if I get the opportunity. And I'm just catching the lives as a meme. I mean, something good about this game is that you can gain a lot of lives easily in all parts, so you don't need to mind for that, because it's so weird to have a game over screen just if you are bad on this game. But the game is so easy to learn and to complete, so it wouldn't be any kind of problem. So also we have on this stage a hidden orb too. But fortunately I know where to see it, and that's on the last part of the stage, because maybe the first times when you're playing this game you say, oh no, where's the orb? Did I miss it? But no, it's hidden at the end of the stage. And for example, if you're not going for toys, you maybe not gonna notice it, because the last orb is close to the third toy of this world. And as you have saw, the toys are different by the worlds. And the first world was a teddy bear. On this world's like a laser toy. And also I need to say that that part in specific just lags on console. That doesn't happen if you run the game on emulator, so that's a good point to run this game on an emulator. But the loading screens are more slower than even a PS1, so that's the end of the stage. But here's the orb hiding, so we need to go back to this. And also, talking about Kingdom Hearts, we need to say, well, you maybe will be asking, well, why all the time on different marathons, if we are gonna see Disney games, need to be Mickey Mouse or Kingdom Hearts games, or sometimes Give Truth? We need to know that also other characters has their own games, and one example is Donald, because it's so bad that not many people in America know this game, because at least for the for the PS1, this game never were released on Greatest Hits, but in PAL regions the game got released on Platinum version, because it sold better on PAL regions instead of NTSC ones. And also this game was never released on Japan, which is just an American and Europe exclusive title. And also, there's anything interesting here to say, just to be careful with that enemies, that kind of version or dinosaurs. Because also I have something that I forget to say about the enemies is that sometimes some of them has a weird hitbox. So not all the time if we hit them we are gonna defeat him. Instead of that, they are gonna to defeat us, and we don't want that it happens. So sometimes when I am on the Mad Dog pace, I'm gonna try to skip some enemies thanks to that weird hitboxes that will troll me in some way. Another example is this one especially. You can hit them, as you can see, as you have saw, you can hit them if you go straight. If you wanna hit them, you need to hit them from back. or instead of it you need to jump over them. And again I got this mad dog pace, which is bad. And also I need to apologize if I don't play this correctly, because I haven't practiced this game, because it wasn't supposed that I'm gonna run this, but I'm trying to do my best. And okay, that's bad. Unfortunately, everything has been going fine in some way. Also, something that I need to say is it's that there's a funny Easter egg. Depends on how many lives that you have lost. Sometimes will be 3, sometimes will be 5. But if on a same stage you lose a lot of lives, there will be a little animation where Donald will go mad with us. So maybe I will see that if I got some free time once I finish my run, I will show that stuff on a 112% file that I have, just to show you the different customs that you can unlock if you go for the auto scrollers, and also the animation that happens once you make the Donald loses a lot of lives. And also, as you have seen, some enemies moves in some way that they can hit you. So the best for that is just to skip them, because again, weird hitboxes attacks again, and we don't want that it happens. And now this is I'm close to the final part of this stage, which is the most tricky, so I'm gonna be quiet for a bit while I try to focus. Okay, never mind, I completed it. It was nice. So this is Louis Creepy's Corridor, the third stage of this, and then we're gonna move to Ghostly Path. Something I need to say also is that some runners, when they start this warp room, they prefer to go on a reverse order. I mean, to start with Ghostly Path instead of Haunted Hall, because as I have said before, Ghostly Path is the most killer stage, killer pace for speedruns, and also the most hard thanks to some kind of perfect movements thanks to this bad game physics. And something that I forgot to say is that I'm using the analog sticks for this game, and we have tests about to play with the D-pad or analog stick, and we haven't noticed any kind of difference, but sometimes this game can be a bit annoying if we just focus into playing it using the D-pad. So it's better to play it with the analog sticks, unless you have a kind of third-party controller which allows you to use the analog stick without activating the analog mode. So as you have saw, this is like a little advice or something previous about what's gonna wait to us on Ghostly Path, which is the next stage. And just for a certain strat, for secure strats, I'm gonna make that Donald don't move for a while, undo some traps moves or something like that. So I will keep a bit quiet until I complete this stage. And also there's another hidden orb here. So the orb is here, and the only way to find it is just again to activate the toys, because that's the intention. That was intentional in the game. In order to find some orbs, in order to complete the game at a full percentage, you need to get the toys. So sometimes that toys are gonna help to us to find. Sometimes that's gonna help to us to find where some orbs are, and that was bad. And that's something bad about this game, is that sometimes some jumps are a bit tricky. So I hope. Okay, that was bad. Especially with this enemy, sometimes can be a bit annoying to complete some stuff. But fortunately, I think I have lost like between 5 to 8 seconds. No, I have lost like 15 seconds thanks to that, unfortunately. But that doesn't matter a lot, because that's the last part of the stage. I'm just gonna be... Okay, that was a risky jump to do, because if you don't time perfectly, you will make that Donald can fell down, and obviously that will translate into losing more time since that's the last part of the stage. And now this is godly bad, and as you watch this stage you will understand why this can turn into something a bit hard. And I having one of that extended loading screens. I think that's a problem with my console. So that shouldn't be a problem, because that, I mean, it doesn't mean that the game crashes, fortunately, because I have tested a lot of times. But this is something that happens thanks to the FDS on my console. I haven't been able to test this on another console or find somebody who can test it, since it's a bit hard to find a copy of this game. Fortunately, it's not expensive, but it's hard to locate one of this. So that's the reason why some people prefer to run this game on an emulator. So I will be quiet for a bit on some parts of this stage. Just if I find something interesting or important to say, I'm gonna talk. And also, in some moments we will see some kind of skips on the stage that are not the intentional way to complete them in order to save some few seconds. For example, to find this toy, if we have activated that bug, we have followed that route with the stars, and okay, that's a big problem that used to happen on this stage, so I need to be careful here until I reach a checkpoint that's close, fortunately. No, it's not close. So I'm gonna keep quiet here for a bit. Okay, that was risky. So the hiding orb is here, and I'm gonna fall down here, and I'm gonna wait that the enemy comes back again. Okay, jump here to skip this, and we are now on a checkpoint, which is something good, and I got up again the Mad Dog pace. So this is the most tricky part. I need to be focused here, so I'm gonna keep quiet until I finish the stage. Okay, no, the skip's not here. Okay, I'm gonna wait. Definitely I'm gonna lose time thanks to this. So I'm not gonna catch that because that can be tricky, and this isn't... okay, this is a good skip because thanks to that we have saved like between 3 to 5 seconds, because it's supposed that you need to go down and find another enemy, but that's the kind of enemy that we can hit directly, so we need to jump over them. And a good time save is to make that kind of jump, because once you jump on that, you need to be careful with your movements. Cause well, if you don't do that correctly, you can lose more time. So once I reach the top of that box with the stars, I need to jump. Instantly press the cross button to jump if I want to get the skip. And now this is the most chokeable boss, which is Magica, and it's like in some ways like the first boss with talking about the extra enemies, but the hits are different here because she will attack twice on the first round, and then she will attack 3 times on the second phase, and 4 times on the last phase. And as you have saw, she started to throw some kind of fireballs. So that means that there are some enemies on screen that we haven't defeated. So after this, I'm gonna hit her and she's gonna throw a milkshake. It would have been useful if I haven't got hit, but in some way that was good because this is the most chokeable part, this last part. I need to hit one. And also I need to be careful and be jumping on precise moments if I don't wanna get hit by her. So now she's gonna throw some stuff 4 times. 2, 3, and 4 times. There we go. Boss defeated. So now we're gonna enter to the last warp room of this game, which is the supposed to be the most hardest one. And we have another gold again. Nice. And well, the next warp room, it's more easy than this one. You just need to be careful about where does the enemies and all the traps are, because most of them are fortunately so easy to skip. So you just need to focus on it. You need to be more careful on your movements. Also, okay, Jack, please. That's another problem of the game. Sometimes you cannot access directly to the stage because you need to be on that portal paths. You need to put Donald over it and then press the jump button, which is the cross button in this case. So it's now time to be focus a bit. Okay, get Mad Dog, never mind. Because fortunately this first part is not hard. And this is one of the enemies that I have been talked about, if we need to hit them when they appear. Because on that part he will start to spin and he will make us damage, and we can, in that special case, we cannot just hit him because again it's like something precise in movements, and also with the death abuses and all the kind of deaths you can get on this game may vary, because sometimes some deaths are fast and other ones took a big amount of time, and as you can see there are some lava at the floor, so if you wanna make a death abuse or if I lose a life accidentally, the animation for that, it's funny, but you lose more time since the animations are more longest. It should be fine. Okay, that was bad. So this is also another chokeable part. This is special part with that arrows. So the safe part here is just to wait until that stuff starts to get out. So if everything goes fine here, I don't need to choke this. And please don't lose a life, don't die. Okay, now on this specific part, I'm gonna make a death abuse on purposely. To do this here is more faster instead to fall down and get burned. Because I need, okay, I don't know why that happened, but doesn't matter. Because we're close to the end of the stage, and there's one of that enemies like that one that hit me that appears, and it's better to make a damage boost there. So I'm gonna do this carefully. Okay, there we go. That was so fine. That makes that was a stupid way to lose that life, but it doesn't matter because defeat that enemy on the last part of the stage, it's a bit hard. Now, Artifact Way, it's very similar to the first stage, but again, you need to be precise with your movements. Fortunately, it's not hard as the first stage, because here appears more enemies that can be easily defeated, which is something good for this. And again, we got that weird hitboxes, and as you have saw, I have received some damage, but unfortunately I tried to catch the milkshake before it, and that's bad because if you're in that pace when you start to get berserk and start to turn into the mad duck pace and you take one of that milkshakes, you will make that the milkshake throws away and the effect won't help to you. More precise jumps. That should be fine. We are safe. Shit! Okay. Sorry for that bad word. It wasn't my intention. But well, everything need to be fine on this part. We're close to the end of the stage. We have the orb right here. And also you have saw that kind of stuff that was at my left. That was also lava, so I need to don't touch that. Okay, I'm gonna try to keep quiet now. Thanks to the S world, I'm gonna donate $1, and every time I got killed and I say about the world, I'm gonna donate $1. And don't worry, because after this I'm gonna run. Damn! Okay, that was a very retarded death. For every bad word I say, I'm gonna donate $1. So. And finishing this, I'm gonna make another run, so for now I have $1 to donate. Because I'm trying to get the most focus I can on this. And this is bad because this run was into a PB pace, but thanks to that, it will be a bit hard to get up. Imagine trying to get PBs on marathons. And as you have saw, that kind of deaths at the end of the stage will make that. Use a big amount of time. Okay, that was safe there. That was a save in some way. But thanks to that I have to lose like 1 minute. So this stage is the Nephew's Murky Way, or as I like to mention it, the last choke, because from all the stages from this final warp room, this is the most hard in my opinion. And now we have some kind of enemies that looks like Donald. But they are not Donald, so if we don't hit them or defeat them, we need to skip them if we don't want to get damage. Damn! Ah, come on! Okay, now you understand why I call this the last choke. And I'm not gonna do here any kind of dead abuses. And also on that back part, it's the toy, but I don't need them. Okay, Donald, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna do that on purposely because this is the most hardest part of the game, and I have to say that I'm not gonna do this, but I have done it. Yay, because thanks to that stuff which throws fire, we will turn this into a bit hard to complete. Okay. I just need to find another checkpoint. And also you need to be very careful timing these fireballs if you don't want to get hit when you're on this kind of bases. Also, there's something that I need to say about this stage in particular, because it's weird, because once I reach the final part of the stage, the music will change drastically. Getting close to the checkpoint. And also, some games are based on cycles. This is not fully cycle, but sometimes some kind of deaths will make that you lose time, because there are some few stuff which is cycle based. And okay, it doesn't matter because I have forgot to jump correctly, and that's the animation that happens when you lose certain amount of lives on a stage. But in this case, since it's not a kind of 3D stage, we haven't saw this correctly, because the correct animation is that Donald turns back to the game screen watching the player, and he will start to get mad. He will throw his head, as you have saw, which in some way it's funny, because it's like if he was saying something like, "Hey you, why you are not playing correctly?" Hallelujah, a new gold. And that was good, because I got a lot of last time. And now this is the last stage, which is Asian Fate. And then when I finish this, we're gonna go to the ceremonial room, which is the last stage of the game. And again, I got one of these extended loading screens. Quack quack. And also, something that I need to say about this is, like, this is not like other kind of video games that show you all the kind of traps and enemies in some stages, and then at a certain point every trap and enemy is the same. Even on this, in every stage, even on this last stage, more traps and enemies appears, and that's something that I need to say about this game, which it makes that this game turns nice. Because other games at certain point stop to show you new stuff and turns into the same, but in this game every stage has something new, something unique. Something that it's only for that stage. Okay, on that part I suppose that I have done a damage boost to go faster, but we don't have more. Unfortunately, we don't have more time to be doing this. But sometimes it's better to do that and wait until you to don't make that damage boost and wait to catch that milkshake. Sometimes don't. It's time to play safely again. And something I need to say, there's a fireball here, and sometimes you will forget this, even if it's on a casual gameplay. But if you have started to run this, but once you get used, you remember that the fireball get thrown at that part, and that was useful for me because I used to forget a lot of times when I have started to run this game that fireball. And Benji, please, no bad jokes. That's my work. And now this is the part that I have said before, previous stage. It was my mistake, it was on this stage. That on this part, last part, the music changes and I don't know why. Just something weird. Yeah, you can see the firewall before the actual dragons, and the dragon's head shows it and shoots them. But sometimes it can be a big problem to get that fireballs on that specific part that I have said, mod when this is the first time that you are playing this. So, well, this is the last stage. This is the ceremonial room, and again, it's like other bosses in RV games. There are 3 hits. Now the floor. Okay, that was bad. I will try to play safely. So on this part, there's some firewalls. And now first hit, he will turn down his shield. So from one part, then for the other ones. Now the firewall will change here. He will go down. He will turn down this, and well, time will finish when I make the last hit for Merlock, which will be on this last phase if everything goes fine. So game, please. First wall, and then there will be a second one. Shit! Okay, second dollar. And re-PV, that was a potential PV pace, but I have choke on that last part. Okay, now I have to donate $2. Sorry, I was quite nervous. And I feel bad because I was planning to make a dead abuse on this first pace. But whatever, PV is dead. But I still feel fine because I haven't choked a lot since I haven't practiced this. So well, time again will finish on the last hit to Marlock, and here we'll throw 2 paces of firewalls. And time.
Hey, what's going on with my machine?
Okay, comparing this with my PV, I have lost 52 seconds, but I still feel fine. I mean, I haven't practiced this game, and for that I am entirely glad. So now it's time to watch the last cutscene of the game.
And now, all the energy in the same spot. Full power!
Be careful, Donald. So well, we have defeated Marlock, and we are now gonna to rescue Daisy. And now it's time to go back to the gyros. Don't worry, this kitchen's no longest, and it is worth to watch. Don't worry.
Daisy, you're safe.
Oh, what's that? It's the Merlock's machine.
Ah, I know what this machine does. Brilliant. Hey.
So, what was the bad plan of Evil Wizard Merlock?
Huh? Merlock box certainly had fancy taste. It's an extra chocolate popcorn machine.
And yes, that was the evil machine of Merlock. A machine to make popcorn machine, to make some popcorn with chocolate.
Thank you for rescuing me.
And Donald, thank you for rescuing me. You are my hero. And well, that's Donald Duck going Quackers. I hope that you like, guys, and keep tuning. Keep watching this marathon, because in a little moment I'm gonna